At Cynthia Rogers, MD Dermatology, we specialize in providing comprehensive, expert care for the full spectrum of skin conditions, from complex skin diseases and skin cancer to aging concerns and aesthetic needs. With decades of combined experience in medical, surgical, and aesthetic dermatology, our team brings both deep clinical knowledge and a patient-first approach to every visit. Our practice focuses on developing personalized treatment plans tailored to each individual's skin, health, and life stage. We're located in Port St. Lucie, Florida, in the PSL Professional Center. Learn more or schedule a visit at floridaskindoctor.com.
We've been around since 1946, originated as a scrapyard and evolved into a full-on steel service center, buying and selling new steel products of light fabrication, such as cutting, shearing, bending, threading. We also run a wholesale pipe, valve, and fitting plumbing division, as well as a retail showroom outlet. And then we also are a full-on structural steel fabricator, which is the skeletal steel that you see in commercial and residential structures. We sell to a wide variety of contractors, plumbers, maintenance type personnel, underground utility companies. We sell anything from single nuts and bolts to like a typical hardware store type of feel, one fitting, to full semi-loads of pipes. We're a little deeper in our inventory, and we actually have maybe a little more specialized type of fittings and such. Stock quite a diverse inventory, so we try to keep everything here to keep you guys going.
Backed by 70 years of experience, Duncan Water Systems specializes in commercial and residential water system testing, design, installation, and maintenance. Our mission at Duncan Water Systems is to provide high-quality water solutions to every customer. We pride ourselves on being responsive, honest, and customer-oriented. Our priority is safer water for you and your family. Contact us via call, text, email, or visit us at duncanwatersystems.com.
Welcome to Road America and tonight's race at the KHIO 120, race number 9 of the Below the Double Yellow Racing Series. My name is Adam Baker. I'm joined up here in the booth with Alex Gagnon, back at a road course for you here, Alex, and looking to be a good one, hopefully, here tonight. Good size field, and these guys always put on a good show for us at BTDY. Road America, one of the toughest road courses out there. I'm looking forward to an exciting event tonight. I know we've had some technical difficulties on both of our ends leading up to the start of tonight's race, but hopefully we survive here. But how are you feeling about the event here tonight?
I'm excited for it. You know, I haven't had the opportunity to cover BTDY in its full this season, but the couple races I have got to cover, one of those was Lime Rock a few weeks ago, the other road course we've had on the schedule this season, and that race really blew me away. We had some fantastic battling through the field, drama all the way till the end of that race, battling with the lead with a couple laps to go. And Lime Rock, not a particularly easy road course either. So seeing how they navigated that makes me think that we're in for a treat here tonight at Road America, a place that is equally as difficult but twice as long.
Yeah, speaking of long, let's take a look at the track information. 4 miles, the length of the Road America Raceway, and that is a lot of racetrack to make mistakes around. 14 turns, so yeah, definitely a lot to keep our eye on here. Drivers currently in the qualifying session trying to set themselves up for a good starting spot here tonight, and yeah, definitely a track that some of these guys have a good knack for, and others, you know, maybe coming here potentially for the first time, and definitely likely for the first time in the ARCA machines as well. So should be interesting to see who's got the hang of it so far, and who doesn't. But some of the common characters up there at the top of the practice standings looking to try and get a good starting spot here tonight. And also interesting in the point standings coming into tonight's race, Bailey Turner gets his second win of the season last week at Las Vegas. He's currently above the cut line with only a few races left in the regular season. Levi Cox, who was battling for the victory, came up 1 position short, or 2 positions short rather, at Las Vegas. He currently leads the points by 1 over Keith Mayato, and then Brody Hayes right there in tow. Those guys going to be fighting for it, I think, all the way through this regular season.
Yeah, this is, we're shaping up for a really fantastic points battle here with only a couple of races to go left in the regular season before we hit the chase. I mean, you see the top only separated by 6 points. Fantastic stuff there. A ton of battling up for grabs still in the middle of that pack, too, for seeding. I mean, you see the gap from Jeremiah Hobbs down to, say, you know, Jake Mockey, Ryan Phillips, only a handful of points as well. And, I mean, you emphasized it earlier, that cut line. James Loveland a point clear of Michael Robinson right now. That is a very precarious place to be with a few races to go. You got to imagine a lot of these drivers, especially the folks just below it, who are, you know, the regulars in the series who have been here for all 7-8 races to this point. You know, they're going to try to find a way here tonight to get over that hurdle, but road racing provides a unique challenge, and for some folks tonight is going to be about maximizing a skill set that they do have, and for others it's going to be trying to minimize the damage of a skill set they might not.
Yeah, driver to keep your eye on, that number 80 machine, 19th in points. He's 32 below the cut coming into tonight's race. He is a driver that has a win at this racetrack in BTDY in the Xfinity machines, also battled with AJ Stravato back in the day in his first season, and actually ended up just second place behind him. A couple of great runs at this track, so a driver to keep your eye on in that number 80, who has qualified well and run well here almost every time we come here. So definitely could be watching him as drivers wrapping up their qualifying laps. But looks like Brody Hayes fastest in practice, fastest right now in qualifying, with only 5 drivers putting a lap into this point. Let's take a quick look at the track conditions before we get trackside here. 116 degree track temp. I heard drivers complaining about it just as we were getting into the session here. And yeah, this is going to be a slick one in these ARCA machines. So no telling what is going to happen there. We'll see some tire fall off, that's for sure.
Absolutely. You know, and, you know, these guys have a couple sets over the wall available to them. And, you know, under normal weather conditions, you don't think you're going to be burning through a ton at a place like Road America, but the track temp's going to be 116, and I'd imagine it's going to stay pretty toasty for the duration of this race tonight. We're probably going to see, whenever they have the opportunity to come down pit road, they will be taking tires, I feel. But you see on the screen there, race analysis here tonight. 30 laps, stage break at lap 10. Doesn't sound like a lot of laps, but around this 4-mile track, I mean, that is a lot of distance to cover. 3 sets of tires available over the wall, 3 attempts at a green, white checkered if needed. And of course, we're running the 80% fuel load here tonight with the fixed setup as per usual in the series.
Yeah, and taking a look at our qualifying times right there on the screen as well. It's only 6 drivers have gotten a lap in, and if you mess up or crash on your out lap, it's a long ways back around. Levi Cox trying to currently improve on his second lap, as we will take a look at his progress so far, currently working his way around the track. And yeah, 14 turns here at Road America. I'll try and keep track of which corner we're in when we're at it, or we have the camera on it, but I'm not the most familiar with this racetrack, other than kind of I think the last few turns of it. Definitely a bit more familiar with that area of it, and watched a few races here. But Levi Cox not going to be able to best his lap time, so he will bring it to pit lane. And coming off the final, or not the final corner here, but this is Jeremiah Hobbs trying to get his first lap in, and gets the back end really loose there. This is going to be a big challenge for these guys to woe up these ARCA machines, which are not necessarily known for their road course racing capabilities.
No, they're certainly not. You know, if there's two things I think about with these ARCA cars, it's the fact that they've got a good bit of power and not a whole lot of brakes. And, you know, that is always a bit of a running stereotype with the real life ARCA series, but especially in these cars. I mean, road courses like Road America that are so winding with so little banking. I mean, you're going to be really heavy on the brakes. There's a lot of low speed corners here. And it doesn't take much to overshoot one of those corners here, because these brakes, you know, they're good, but they're not necessarily designed for what these guys are going to be putting them through here tonight. They're going to have to be really careful in how aggressively they attack those corners, trying to make up time on the racetrack versus not oversending it. As you see Hobbs, they're going to bring it back toward pit road as well.
Yeah, obviously not getting a clean lap, and that's really your only shot at getting a qualifying lap here is not going off, so maybe stepped a tire or two over the edge of track limits, as Bailey Turner continuing to get a bit more practice in. He's second on the qualifying charts, and just looks like he's keeping it nice and tidy in that silver 24 Jeff Gordon throwback. And that's something you can expect from Bailey Turner pretty much anywhere we go. He's going to try and preserve his tires, preserve his fuel, run as smooth as possible, and be aggressive when he needs. And right now, I think it's set to be a nice battle amongst our top 5 or 6 drivers who do have that qualifying lap in. Also notable, Braxton DeWeese making his first start in the series. Saw him post about that earlier today. So he's definitely excited for it. We're excited to see him out here. Participated in the VSPEED Invitational just a couple weeks ago, and had some strong speed there, and currently third in qualifying in what would be his debut. So impressive to this point. We'll see how he fares in tonight's event, as just 15 seconds left in qualifying.
Yeah, no, to your point, impressive speed here tonight for his debut there for DeWeese. Currently putting it third, only about a half second off of Brody Hayes, and we know that during the actual race pace we could see a good battle here between Hayes and Turner. As you see, he gets to the line as the session concludes. So whether it was cars electing not to take a time or cars who simply had a little bit of issues in qualifying, not a ton of posted times, but still a healthy sized field getting ready to go here tonight at Road America.
Yeah, we'll have over 20 drivers, which is a pretty good showing for a road course race in the stock cars, as we'll take a look at tonight's starting grid rolling off at Road America. It's going to be Brody Hayes with another pole position. That's a bonus point for him. Important at the top of the standings. Bailey Turner going to roll off from the second spot on row number 1. Starting on row number 2, it is going to be Braxton DeWeese in that third position in his debut. Keith Mayato, a 2-time winner this season, going to roll off from the 4th spot. Starting in 5th tonight, it's going to be Levi Cox, your points leader, going to try and make up as much ground as he can early on and try and keep that points lead. Ryan Phillips going to start from the 6th spot here tonight. 7th is Eric Hutton in the 88 machine. Angelo Ronas returning for another start, going to roll off from the 8th spot here tonight. Chris Samard starting in the 9th position, and Noah Mahalski going to round out your top 10. 11th, it's Max Cost. Jeremiah Hobbs in the 12th position. 13th, it'll be Dallas Sullivan. Cody Adkins looking to get his season turned around. Going to roll off from 14th. Rob Liddell going to start in the 15th position. James Loveland's returning. He's right on that cut line. Rolls off 16th. And he's got some pretty good road course capabilities, actually. So interesting to see if he can charge up through the field. Dennis Faircloth going to start from the 17th position. So deep starting position for a driver we think could have a shot at challenging for a win. Benson Weaver 18th on the starting grid. Jake Maki in the 19th position. Zach Smith in 20th. And rounding out the field here tonight. It'll be Jace Coley, who's always fun to watch charge from the rear of the field.
That is tonight's starting grid. As you see, the car starting to get rolling here behind the pace car. 21 cars ready to rock and roll here in Wisconsin. And, you know, when we had our other road course race this season, it really came down to this front row that we're seeing right now. Brody Hayes and Bailey Turner put on a fantastic duel at the tail end of that race, and they're picking up right where they left off, turning left and right, lining up 1-2. And, you know, a lot of the heavy hitters in the points stuck into the top 10 here, so no one really going to be getting a huge reprieve in the early going thing. You really got to go out there and make something happen before you hit the stage.
Yeah, those guys that are up there towards the top of the standings going to be trying to minimize mistakes, like you mentioned earlier, just to try and keep their points position, as it looks like we'll have the short pace lap here tonight. Nice to see that. So we'll get our action off and running that much sooner. It's Brody Hayes and Bailey Turner going to lead them to green at Road America. And there it is. Green flag is out. We're off and away for race 9 of the Below the Double Yellow Racing Series. So far, so good for everybody as we work through the first couple of corners. Could be a challenge for the race lead as Bailey Turner got a nice run. They're drag racing down the long straightaway here. And now crossing back over, it's going to be Brody Hayes. Looks to driver's right. It'll be a left-hander down into the braking zone. Car slides off. And that is, that looks like Angelo Ronis, who maybe wheel hopped it in the 029. And able to get it back under control. He'll fall outside of the top 10. And yeah, everybody still pointed in the right direction for now.
Yeah, strong start to kind of keep this thing under control, and incredibly strong start for now race leader Bailey Turner. Got that move done going in toward turns number 5. Now starting to try to open up that gap on Brody Hayes just a little bit. This top 10 or so all strung out single file pretty quickly as they go here through the carousel, turns 9 and 10 of this 14-turn race course. You can see the track map there at the bottom of your screen. Kind of get a sense of where these guys are on the racetrack. It's a huge track, so there's a lot of ground to make up, a lot of ground to cover. You see there a nice little battle for third. DeWeese getting hounded here by Levi Cox as they make their way into turn 12.
A good battle is Braxton DeWeese right where he started in that third spot, hanging on to it. Levi Cox, your points leader, in behind, and he sees one of his championship contenders up there, and Brody Hayes running in that second spot. Top 2 have pulled ahead by just about a second over the 00 as they work their way back around, completing lap number 1 up the hill. Across the start-finish line, here comes Keith Mayato, now going to take a peek to driver's right of the 54. And it'll be a drag race back towards the very tight right-hander of turn number 1. Hard onto the brakes. They'll work their way all the way down to just over 80 miles an hour. Mayato not able to complete the pass this time, getting back on the throttle. And he'll tuck in behind the 54 for the moment. Here comes Chris Smart.
Around. The 80 of Dennis Faircloth sideways off of turn 1. I don't know if he had help or just lost it getting back on the throttle, but we caught that just at the tail end of the turn. Oh yeah, there's a second car there with him.
That is Zach Smith, and we'll take a look here. Just lost control, lost the back end of the race car, noses it into the barrier. Don't have much of a better angle, and then I think Zach Smith may have just done the same thing. He was off the racetrack separately. So yeah, a couple of separate incidents kind of ending up in the same position, and unfortunate for one of our contenders that we thought could have a shot at it here tonight. But we do have a stage break at lap number 10, so Dennis will try and get some of that track position back. He could even potentially flip the strategy if he can make a pit stop before the stage closes, as Brody Hayes has gotten the race lead back from Bailey Turner, so we missed that for just a quick second, but 37 back to where he started this race. And maybe Bailey Turner trying to save a little bit. We know the fuel strategy could come into play. It's about, I believe it's about 12 to 14 laps is the range you can run here. Some of these guys might be able to try and save an extra lap or two per stint, but it's going to be tough. This is a big racetrack, and I'm not sure where you can save a lot of fuel on a road course.
It gets really tough because, you know, you could try the whole lift and coast strategy that you see some folks try, but it's just not as easy to do on the road courses as it is on the oval, where there's so many different opportunities and so many different looks for the way that these corners are set up. As you see Hayes slimly holding on to the lead here as they get back across the stripe. We make our way on to lap 3. Brody Hayes, Bailey Turner have already swapped the lead back and forth once. Now the 24 are going to step out of line, going to take a look potentially into turn 1, thought better of it. Hayes is going to hold the point for now as they get through that corner. But where both of these guys seem to really thrive is they get a really good run here off the corner in turn 3. And then it's someone who's able to use this straightaway. A little bit of draft action, pull ahead, make that move into 5 as they kind of go through 4 here, this tunnel. Doesn't look like Turner is going to have that run, though, like he did on the opening lap.
Yeah,
Brody Hayes is going to still lead here into 5 and 6.
Yeah, using every bit of racetrack. They're going beyond the rumble strips. And it's there's a couple different approaches to running at a road course. You can drive hard, get the track position early, and try and fend off the guys that maybe save a little bit, run a little smoother, maybe a little slower at the start of the run. And Bailey Turner is a master of strategy. We did see this similarly, I believe, at Lime Rock, where he kind of fell back a half second or a second or two, and then reeled Brody Hayes back in right at the end of the race. He had a bit more pace underneath the 24 machine, and that could be the same situation tonight. But Brody Hayes was the only driver in the 2:10 bracket in the practice session, so he definitely has the raw pace advantage, but whether or not that's sustainable is another story. As he goes off the track really wide that time, that'll close the gap up, as here comes Bailey Turner, going to jump to driver's left. Still grass and dirt flying off the tire to the 37, and again Bailey Turner to the point.
I don't remember the last time I've seen such an immediate commentator's curse quite like that.
Yeah.
Talking about consistency. The 37 has the pace as he's looking back to the right side here as they drive their way down the 14. They'll have the inside line here. Looks like he will be able to pry the lead away, at least temporarily, from Bailey Turner. So just like that, the 37 of Brody Hayes back out front. But boy, you know, the score sheet won't say it's too dramatic. He was leading to start lap 3. He was leading to start lap 4. But this lap has been anything but simple. Is now Turner going to take a look to the left side, the outside of turn 1, as they drive it into this this corner. But yeah, no, to your point, Adam, you were saying the consistency is going to be important, and right as we were talking about that with the 37, overshoots that corner, opens the door for Turner, and that's how fast things can change at a road course like Road America.
And there he goes wide again. This is where he lost the lead on lap number 1, so Bailey Turner with a little better handle. I believe that's turn number 3 that he's got a little better speed through. Maybe that's turn 2, but yeah, it's side by side once again. Going to be a hard dive down into the corner, and much shallower entry, and trying to get the undercut. Goes to 24. He can't quite get alongside. This has brought Braxton DeWeese all the way up to these two, and they were about a second or more ahead of him just a lap ago. And racing one another on a road course is sure to cost you a lot of time. Most people say you have to race the track. You don't want to race anybody else if you don't have to. But these two at the front, they're pretty content to run and battle with each other here early on in this one.
It's given shades of Lime Rock a few weeks ago. Brody Hayes with the advantage out front. Bailey Turner absolutely hounding the back bumper corner after corner. And yeah, DeWeese within a second here. He has tracked them down, just kind of watching this unfold, and is in a perfect spot to capitalize should something happen to one of those two cars running in front of him. They've started to open up just a little bit of a gap over Keith Maioto and Levi Cox back there in 4th and 5th. We jump on board here with the 00.
So he gains quite a bit of ground under braking into that corner. Back to the right, waits on throttle for the top two, not quite driving away from him. Being very patient, trying to be very smooth in the 00 machine. So work back through turn number 14, complete lap number 4. Sure does take a long time to get around this racetrack, but
Oh yeah.
everybody up here in the top 6 doing a nice job, all within 3.5 seconds. So very competitive in this league, and good to see all these guys keeping the cars pretty much clean for now. Zach Smith has taken it behind the wall. Benson Weaver's had a moment at some point. He is about 30 seconds back. Dennis Faircloth has gone past him. Keeping an eye on other battles. Eric Hutton, who is another driver, pretty strong on the road courses. Started in 7th. He's back to 12th. It's, wow, another commentator curse right away. Wow.
Didn't even give him a chance to finish the sentence. Hutton followed Hobbs right off the track. Both of them end up in the dirt, and boy, you are batting 2 for 2 so far tonight, Adam.
Wow.
Who do you want to hit the bolt of lightning against next? Who are you going to strike down with your next highlight here?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. This is, I believe I saw a compilation of something like this in the Goat Locker IndyCar series a few weeks back. That was Daniel Cunningham. Every time he'd mention somebody, they would just about go off track. And that may, hopefully that's not the case here tonight, but yeah, 2 for 2 on this one, as Eric Hutton is going to be able to get on by Jeremiah Hobbs, so he'll get right back to where he was, but ended up losing a spot to James Loveland. Got to look through the rest of our top 10. Ryan Phillips, Angelo Ronis, who's recovered slightly. He's closing in on Noah Mahalski in the 03 machine. These guys about 3 seconds back from Jace Cully, who I told you it's fun to watch him charge through the field. I didn't get to watch it this time. He's up 14 positions in the first 5 laps of this race. And
did not take him long, man. Big mover already. Is just reeling them in. I mean, obviously it says he's 7 seconds back the leader, but making up 14 positions in 5 laps here on the road course is no easy feat.
He was fastest car on the track last time around as well. So definitely a driver to watch here in the 65. He's always entertaining in this ARCA series, or in these ARCA cars rather, as Bailey Turner not quite able to close up the gap to Brody Hayes. This time they'll come across the stripe. Just a few more laps to the end of the stage, and likely everyone is going to bring the car down pit road at that point to get tires on it. We'll see if anybody does end up flipping, as Rob Liddell has lost some ground. Dennis Faircloth's gone past him. Not sure what it was, probably just another off-road excursion like we've seen a couple of drivers do so far tonight. Jake Mockey, Cody Adkins, these guys are battling it up back here just outside the top 10. Eric Hutton had another moment. He's lost a position to Jeremiah Hobbs. So I'm sorry, Eric, that I said your name. It's been downhill from there. So we'll see if he's got an opportunity to rebound at any point in this one. Jake Mockey feeling the pressure. Cody Adkins, who's had definitely a rough season to this point, trying to get something going in the right direction. I don't think he would consider road courses his specialty, but trying to get whatever he can here as he puts that pressure on, and has to woe up behind the 13 of Mockey, and they'll cruise through here back to the left. Nobody gonna change positions at the moment there, as Levi Cox starting to lose some ground. He's fallen into the clutches of Chris Samard. This is the battle 5th and 6th.
Yeah, you see there's the 77 of Chris Samard, who's looking to try to make his way into the top 5 here before the end of the stage. He's got the points leader in front of him. This would be a big pass, not only for him and getting some stage points, but also would be big in the overall points picture here. Levi Cox, only has the 1-point advantage over Keith Mayato coming into today's race, and right now is running 1 place behind him. So if the stage points were to be awarded in the way that they run at the moment, they would now be tied up at the front of the field. So we jump on board here with Brody Hayes, who would, I think, also maybe make that a 3-way tie with the way this math is working out. Might be a point shy as they go. But I mean, yeah, we've got ourselves a fantastic points battle. We've still got ourselves a pretty good duel for the lead here. Bailey Turner, he's fallen back to only about 7/10, but that's the biggest lead Brody Hayes has had at any point so far today.
As Levi Cox has pulled it down pit lane, so he's gonna try and flip the stage here just a little bit. Angelo Ronis putting pressure on Noah Mahalski. This battle continuing since last lap. So yeah, this will be interesting to see how it works out for the 54. He'll be the first taker And I believe this is the last opportunity. They should be closing pit road next time by, so he may be the only driver. Although, yeah, Dennis Faircloth goes on by. Maybe there's one more lap for him to bring it in, but I'm surprised not really any others. Maybe Ryan Phillips has brought it in. He has in the 27. So really just a couple of drivers trying to flip the strategy. As out in front, Brody Hayes, Bailey Turner still continuing to show the way, but Braxton Deweese closing back in on the 24. 36, Keith Mayato in tow, and Keith putting down the best lap last time by.
36 starting to come alive here toward the end of the opening stage. Starting to get to the back bumper of that 00 of Deweese, who's jumped on board here with Keith Mayato in that 36 machine. He's already a two-time winner this season, looking to try to maybe pick up win number 3 and take sole control of the most wins of any driver in the series to this point with a win here tonight. Still has a little bit of work to do, though. You can see the gap between the race leader, Brody Hayes, back to where Keith is. It's only a couple of seconds, but several cars standing in between him and that goal at the moment. He's trying to get past the debuting Braxton Deweese as they run the 00, though. I mean, he hasn't really he hasn't stepped a foot wrong since they've kicked this one off. Qualified third, and he's been running third ever since, and has just been steadily chugging along and keeping pace with those cars in front of him.
In terms of fastest laps, he has run the 4th fastest lap of anyone on the racetrack, so definitely has the raw pace. And like we said, it's all about the consistency lap after lap. This time, a little bit off of the top 2 and the Mayato number 36 machine. And Chris Samard, who's in that 5th position now, inherits that after Levi Cox pulled it down pit road. He is 6 seconds back, so those top 4 kind of in their own category. You could probably throw Chase Coley and maybe Noah Mahalski in there in terms of lap time. They're running some of their fastest laps and relatively comparable to the top 4. But obviously well behind at 11 and 14 seconds back respectively. As looks like another moment possibly for Eric Hutton or Jeremiah Hobbs, one of those two, as they've swapped positions once again. Cody Adkins moves up to the 12th spot. Jake Mockey in that 13th position, and then James Loveland in 9th has started to fade here just a little bit. Not a good lap for him. 2:17, that's about 6 seconds off the pace, so obviously had a moment. And he is starting to feel that pressure from the 88, finally starting to recover after the commentator curse.
Yeah, here goes Hutton, maybe taking a look to the inside here in turn 5. Gonna go up this chute to turn 6, still taking a peek to that left side. Is he gonna be able to make something stick here? Loveland runs a little wide. Hutton gonna be able to capitalize. And that 88 moves up to 9th now on the rebound. Loveland now going to try to hold off Jeremiah Hobbs, Cody Atkins, and Jake Mockey, who are all in tow behind him. Cody Atkins nearly got a fender full of Hobbs there going into that corner. Had to get on the brakes pretty good. The 31 holding on to 11th right now. Cody Atkins, though, looks hard-pressed, ready to take that away from him as they're going through the carousel up in 9 and 10. At 55 has been just tantalizingly on the outside of the top 10 really since the drop of the green flag here. Has been trying to get in there. He's only a couple spots away from getting some stage points that could be a huge boost to his season to this point.
Yeah, I think he might be actually out of contention in terms of points. Just not the season that Cody was looking for. He's had so much bad luck, and then even just getting caught up in things not at all of his doing, and looking to try and get things pointed in the right direction. Definitely a top 10 in a road course race would be a huge boost of confidence for him as the battle for the lead starting to emerge. This is what we saw at Lime Rock, where the 37 may be quick on the short run, but starting to fade just a little bit here. Bailey Turner just 2 or 3 car lengths back. Mayato has gotten past Braxton Deweese as well. So, yeah, a couple positions changing hands throughout the field, and the battle for the lead starting to heat up here as we close in on that stage break. Look at the big dive by the 24. Maybe pushed it a little bit too hard. Able to keep it off of Brody, though. I mean, that was impressive to stay off the back bumper and not crash. He definitely was going to hit him if he didn't move over to driver's right, headed into the corner there, but able to keep it underneath them. And he'll lose a bit of time, but saves the race car.
Yeah, that's a move that you can make with 2 to go in the stage. If it was 2 to go in the race, I'm not so sure he would have been so kind to bail out of the way there. The 24 really drove it in deep, and I don't know if that was the intention or not there going into 5. I mean, he really overshot that corner. The 37 took a really wide line of defense there too, and he just kept going further and further to the outside of that corner. Lost a good bit of track time. Now going through the grass. Not been a particularly pleasant lap here for Bailey Turner. He's had a couple of corners I'm sure he wishes he had back.
And that's the thing with road course racing. I mean, you'll get into a rhythm, but as soon as you get out of your rhythm, it can really throw you off for a while. And this track being 14 unique corners, it's a while until you get back to a point where you can kind of reset. You're kind of still trying to catch up and figure things out for the rest of the lap, and you can sometimes overdrive it, trying to make up the time you lost. And usually it's just you got to give up the time and just try and settle back in as soon as you can, as almost looked like he was going to head into the pit wall there, as lap 10 will come up and caution will fly. That is the end of the stage. Brody Hayes, your stage winner after a tight battle for most of the first 10 laps, and he's going to send it off the racetrack in celebration.
Well, I hope he doesn't celebrate too much yet. We're only about a third of the way through this one. You're going to need to keep that car in one piece if you're going to bring home the big fish here tonight. But good racing at the front of the field with Hayes and Turner. Mayato got around DeWeese there late, so he'll take that 3rd spot over DeWeese. Samard in 5th. Jace Cully, 21st to 6th, man. What a drive to start this one. And this stage comes at a perfect time for the 65. He had pace that was matching some of the race leaders, and now he'll have the opportunity to restart in that group where he doesn't have to work his way through traffic. That 65 could be a real contender here when they get going green again.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Jace's performance on road courses in the past, but obviously has the speed. He's got a good handle on this ARCA car, because, I mean, he's got to have made the most passes of anybody this season. I think he's qualified or started at the back of every race that I've seen or been a part of, and I've witnessed him pass dozens of cars each race. So it's just it's been very impressive for the 65 this season so far in terms of his just raw pace and handle on this ARCA machine. We'll see what he's got here for the remaining 20 laps of this one, as they'll try and work their way back around under the yellow flag. We will go to a quick side-by-side commercial break and be right back.
At Cynthia Rogers, MD Dermatology, we specialize in providing comprehensive expert care for the full spectrum of skin conditions, from complex skin diseases and skin cancer to aging concerns and aesthetic needs. With decades of combined experience in medical, surgical, and aesthetic dermatology, our team brings both deep clinical knowledge and a patient-first approach to every visit. Our practice focuses on developing personalized treatment plans tailored to each individual's skin, health, and life stage. We're located in Port St. Lucie, Florida, in the PSL Professional Center. Learn more or schedule a visit at floridaskindoctor.com.
We've been around since 1946, originated as a scrap yard and evolved into a full-on steel service center, buying and selling new steel products of light fabrication, such as cutting, shearing, bending, threading. We also run a wholesale pipe, valve, and fitting plumbing division, as well as a retail showroom outlet. And then we also are a full-on structural steel fabricator, which is the skeletal steel that you see in commercial and residential structures. We sell to a wide variety of contractors, plumbers, maintenance type personnel, underground utility companies. We sell anything from single nuts and bolts to like a typical hardware store type of feel, one fitting, to full semi-loads of pipe. We're a little deeper in our inventory, and we actually have maybe a little more specialized type of fittings and such. Stock quite a diverse inventory, so we try to keep everything here to keep you guys going.
Backed by 70 years of experience, Duncan Water Systems specializes in commercial and residential water system testing, design, installation, and maintenance. Our mission at Duncan Water Systems is to provide high-quality water solutions to every customer. We pride ourselves on being responsive, honest, and customer-oriented. Our priority is safer water for you and your family. Contact us via call, text, email, or visit us at duncanwatersystems.com.
Back at the racetrack now. Driver's still working under the yellow flag, and we'll see a few pull it into, or we'll see everyone pull it down pit lane when the opportunity arises. But Ryan Phillips, Levi Cox were two drivers that tried to flip it there. I'm not sure. I'm only seeing a 0.2 second time on pit lane for Ryan Phillips, so I think that's just glitched out on our timing and scoring. But I believe he did receive service on that number 27 machine. So the two drivers at the tail end of the lead lap right now are going to be able to cycle up towards the front, and that could shake things up pretty dramatically because Levi Cox had good speed and was running in the top 5 when he brought it down pit road. As here goes the field. They'll work onto this right-hand pit lane. So reverse pit stops here, just like you see at Watkins Glen and some other road courses.
I wonder if it trips up the virtual pit crews as much as it does the real life pit crew sometimes, having the pit backwards, you know, getting the fuel can onto the far side of the race car is really where a lot of issues happen. In the real world, virtually maybe not so much, but you know, still be interesting to see if anyone has any issues on pit road here. This will probably be the only time that they're stopping, except for a splash of fuel probably toward the end of this one. So you got to maximize what you can here.
Yeah, I'm not sure anyone's going to be able to make it to the end on this one. Here goes Jace Cully off and away. He had a 14.5-second pit stop, so that seems to be similar to what you'd see on a standard pit lane as drivers funnel their way out the tight exit of pit road here at Road America. And you can see there, Brody Hayes 14.3, Bailey Turner 14.8, and a few others funneling in there. So it'll be Hayes, Turner, Mayato, Deweese, and Samard, your top 5 off pit lane. Jace Cully right there as well, but it's Levi Cox and Ryan Phillips staying out on the racetrack. They flipped the stage. They knew they were going to have to make a pit stop at some point. Tried to preserve their tires and fuel maybe during the last couple of laps, and they'll probably be the first takers to pit road. We'll probably expect them, either they split it halfway or they go as far as they possibly can. Be interesting to see what the call is when that time comes. We should have a short yellow flag, but still a long ways around this racetrack. And if you're out there watching, make sure to cheer on your favorite driver. Let us know you're out there, and who do you think is going to win here tonight? It's Levi Cox inheriting the lead. Is he going to be able to go out there and get another victory? He's got one on the season, and I believe he was quite strong at Lime Rock as well. Be an impressive bit of strategy if you can hang on up at the front here with the 37 and the 24 being as fast as they are.
Yeah, he was a top 5 car the only other time we've had a road course this season, finishing 5th at Lime Rock a few weeks ago. But yeah, no, he has been incredibly strong as of late. You know, you look at his last 5 races, 1 first, 1 second, 1 third, 1 fourth, and 1 fifth. He's been that steady, hitting every spot of the top 5 in the last 5 weeks. And that's part of the reason why he has inherited the points lead here. And this strategy call I actually think works out really well for him. Gets him some track position. Because on the road courses, I would argue, especially if you've got some decent speed, it's a little easier to act on the defense than on the offense. As we were seeing, you know, with Bailey Turner and Brody Hayes, sometimes it's tough to find that opportunity to make the pass. But if you have the track position already, you might be able to hold on to it a little bit easier. So for Levi Cox and Ryan Phillips, pretty big call here in this race to try to flip it, get some track position, sacrificing the stage points that would have come with it for both drivers. But you know, ultimately the goal is to win the race, not to get the stage points, and we'll see if it works out for these two.
Yeah, definitely gonna be an interesting thing to watch for the rest of the way. Another driver to note, Dennis Faircloth. He's in the I believe he's in the 13th position, so did end up recovering a bit after his off-track incident very early on in this one, as we're working towards the last couple of corners here. Driver all the way at the back trying to catch up. That is James Loveland. He is all on his own, almost a minute behind the field, so that is going to be rough for James to try and get back up and close the gap to the field. He's not going to get there before we take the green, coming up in just a second. And there it is, into the restart zone. It's Levi Cox back on the throttle straight away. Brody Hayes is attacking the 27, closes in behind, not going to be able to make the move, or does he? Peaks driver's right, and he's going to get in the back bumper, and then Bailey Turner's going to stack up into him, and everybody going slipping and sliding off of turn number 1.
A little bit of bumper cars there into turn 1. Hayes got into Phillips, which checked him up. Turner gets into him. Now they're all scrambling, trying to get settled back in here as Mayato and Chris Simard look to pounce on the 24. They're going to go around that left side.
Yeah,
both of them, I believe, are going to clear.
Yeah, VSPEED machines nose to tail. They're kind of using a little bit of draft. This here goes Bailey Turner back down in, and the 27, Ryan Phillips wide on entry. Cut the nose off the 36, and now there goes Samard, the 77 machine, off the racetrack. He'll lose a little bit of ground. There's Jace Coley. Just mentioned him before, up to 6th once again. And he's gotten past a couple of very fast drivers in Braxton Deweese and Chris Samard, who are running in the top 5. And the 27 of Ryan Phillips hanging on here in that 3rd position. But the top 2, Levi Cox and Brody Hayes, who battled last, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, at Richmond. They had an incredible battle at that race, and it came down to a photo finish. But these were the 2 fighting for it, and they're going to be set to battle here in just a few moments. We'll see what the 54's got to contend.
Yeah, the advantage here is the clean air being out front as well. Someone went way off. I want to say it was Ryan Phillips, who got a ton of grass there going through the back half of this race course. Bailey Turner in position to capitalize, similar to how he took the lead from Brody Hayes back in the opening stage. Jace Cully going to try to take a look around the outside of the 27 as well, switching back now to driver's right. You see that 65 trying to make that move. Think he'll be able to make it stick here as they make their way into 14. As the inside spot lunges in, takes away P5. Yeah, Ryan Phillips dropping to 6th here. There's that little bit of off track with some cars behind him. Cost him a few spots here coming to the stripe.
Yeah, now he's reeling just a little bit. Hasn't gained the momentum back entirely as the 00 Deweese now looking to driver's right, trying to get back up into the top 5 where he ran for all of this race. Gets the back wheels locked up just a little bit in the 00, but really nice job through turn number 1. He'll complete the pass, goes to 6th. And here comes Angelo Ronis, who had some trouble early on in this one. He's got pressure from Samard. Here comes Dennis Faircloth into the top 10. The 03 of Mahalski's right here. It is a hornet's nest in the midfield as the 77 and the 27 go side by side down through the kink here. And downhill to the left. It'll be the 77 diving in deep. He's going to miss the turn just a bit. And here comes Faircloth, going to try and get a 2 for 1. He'll go around, tries to hang on to it.
And he will, but not by much, man. That car was wiggling all over the place going into 6. Opportunistic move, though, from Dennis Faircloth puts him in the top 10 for the first time today. I think it's also worth noting as we jump on board here with the 80 that corner has caused a lot of issues for drivers throughout the field since this restart. I think Brody Hayes had some issues there as well. He dropped all the way down the 4th, and he was within a 10th of Levi Cox a lap ago.
Yeah.
So right now on board with the 80 of Faircloth up 9 spots, and you know, you were talking in the pre-show a little bit that he was one to watch, and here he comes just before the halfway point, starting to work himself into striking position.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned that corner causing problems. I'm seeing a lot of debris getting, you know, spread onto the racetrack. Anytime someone goes off into the rocks, the sand there, pea gravel off the corners, we're getting it onto the racetrack. There's also dirt, grass, and that'll really affect your braking and your turn in the center of a corner, and then getting back on the throttle too. So anytime anyone is going off the racetrack and debris is on the pavement, we're seeing guys really struggling, and that's just going to get worse and worse as drivers continue to go off. Here comes Bailey Turner, big head of steam. He's closed up on the top 2, and Brody Hayes, you said, made a mistake. Not a good lap for him. He falls to 4th, and now here goes Keith Maiato, big send into turn 1. He's going to miss the corner, and he's going to go well off, and there he goes back to 4th. Now Jace Coley, 5th, 6th. He continues to fall, and Angelo Ronas
7th is, yeah, costly mistake there for Keith Maiato. Had a run, tried taking it into turn 1 and just completely oversent it into the gravel trap, losing a ton of track position. And tell you what, Levi Cox, to his credit, despite being out there, you know, on the older tires, anytime someone who's had the opportunity to pass him since we've gone racing again, they've made a mistake right as they've gone to make the pass. We saw it with Brody Hayes. We just saw it there with Keith Maiato. Now with Bailey Turner, I'm sure we'll try to test his luck as the 54 just doing what he needs to do to keep himself in the lead right now.
Yeah, he is struggling a little bit with the rear tires on that car, but I believe some of that being the gravel on the racetrack. Still pretty tight here all the way back to Cody Atkins. It's only 7.3 seconds amongst the top 13, so these guys all within striking distance to some extent, and there's still going to be a pit stop to come unless someone can somehow stretch the fuel an extra 3 or 4 laps, which I don't think it's possible. That's, you know, 12 to 16 miles extra gas that they're gonna have to save, and right now these guys are pushing really hard. Nobody is saving up here in the top 10 as Jace Coley, how about the drive to the front continuing to improve as Brody Hayes locked up the back tires. Levi Cox goes off in front. Here comes Bailey Turner. There's just no time to even highlight any of these guys. We see constant action.
Oh, and they just got into each other there in 13. The 24 tagged the back of the 54. Levi Cox. Bailey Turner falls back a couple car lengths. Here comes Brody Hayes right to the back bumper of Turner. They're going to be just lined up nose to tail here as they come across the stripe as we officially hit the back half of this race at Road Atlanta. And boy, oh boy, is it about to get dangerous here in the 1. Bailey Turner looks to take a step out here. He's going to try to make that move to the inside, blocked off by the 54. And here they go into turns 2 and 3. Yeah, this little shimmy right here counts as turn 2 on the track map. So this is technically turn. Oh, Bailey Turner around contact with Brody Hayes as well. Jace Cully going to go on by. Same with Deweese, Ronas. Maiato going to get a spot back, and man, we'll take one more look at that. Did the 24 just lose it, or did he have some help?
Oh, he just lost it. Wheel hopped it. And then, yeah, that's contact with the right front suspension as well. He may have some handling problems, and also direct contact on the nose of Brody Hayes. So that could affect his aero on the front splitter, the front bumper there. As how about Jace Cully continuing to march forward, opportunistic. He's up to 3rd. Started shotgun on the field, literally started last. And he could be trying to do the last to first challenge here if things fall his way. But Brody Hayes still in that 2nd spot, still putting down some pretty good lap times, and we'll see what he's able to do with the 54 if he can get there without making a mistake like we've seen everybody in 2nd place do tonight.
Yeah, I was literally just about to say that ever since Levi Cox took the lead, anytime the car in second has been ready to make the pass for the race lead, some sort of misfortune has hit him. Brody Hayes was the first person. He slipped from second to fourth back in turn 5 a few laps ago. Then it was Keith Maiato and then Bailey Turner. Those two cars still running 6th and 7th are now making 5th and 7th as Maiato slips past Ronas. They're still trying to work their way back to the front. They have not been able to regain that track position. As you see now, the 029 actually going to get that spot back. But yeah, no, anytime someone's had the opportunity from second to try to make a pass for the lead, something has happened. And now I wonder what will happen here with Brody Hayes. He's already had this happen once. Is he going to take a different approach to it? There's a bunch of takers here for pit road.
Yeah,
I think everyone knows that this is the window to make it on fuel.
Yeah, Cox, the first taker here. I also saw Bailey Turner pull it in. Braxton DeWeese is in. He's been a driver who's benefited from all these guys making mistakes. He gained a few positions. It also looks like Ryan Phillips has brought it in early again. So he's an early taker on this one. Chris Samard had already pitted. So he is a driver to keep your eye on. He's coming through turn number 14 here. Is he going to be able to leapfrog some of these guys? Clean air on the front end of the 77. We'll see where he cycles out, but at the moment, he is coming towards the end of pit lane, and the other drivers are just entering back up onto the racetrack at a completely different pace. And 77 gonna close up a couple of positions now. He'll get around he'll get around Levi Cox, who cycles all the way to the back of that group, having to take just a little bit more fuel.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a slow stop there for the 54, trying to make sure he could get all the way to the end after he stayed out before the stage. Before he pit before the stage. Cost him a little bit of extra fuel on pit road there. So Turner and DeWeese now going to get stacked up here. This is for, as they run, 14th, but of course we know everyone will have to make another stop if they haven't already before the end of this one to make it on fuel. So the action here going to be pretty intense, I'd imagine, as well, because this will cycle back into the top 5 with how they were running before this pit cycle began. And yeah, right now, Chris Samard right in the mix here behind Turner and DeWeese.
And there goes Bailey.
Turner's off.
Wow, this could very well fall into the hands of the 00 if things cycle out. We'll keep an eye on him. He's been one of the few drivers to really run a pretty clean race. Hopefully that's not a curse right straight away as Cody Adkins goes around further up in the fields, but he gets it back pointed in the right direction. No damage on the 55 machine. And at the front, Maiato has brought it in. So from the top 5, he'll bring it in. We'll see what the fuel and tire call looks like. You're going to see a little different handling when you top it up and you've got a few laps on the tires. So these guys, you're going to have to navigate the adjustment in their driving style at that point, as everybody else is going to bypass for the moment. Cody Adkins does pull it in, but Brody Hayes keeps it out on the racetrack another time around. This brings Jace Coley up to second, Angelo Ronas third, and Dennis Faircloth into the top 5. Jeremiah Hobbs as well up to 5th, and it'll be interesting to see if anyone's going to try and save. We'll go on board here with Brody Hayes, see if he's doing any type of fuel saving strategy. Tough to tell at some of these corners, really waiting on the throttle and lifting a little earlier maybe, but not going to be saving quite enough fuel the way he's driving through there.
Yeah, I think he may be taking it a little bit easier now that he has a bit of a gap back to Jace Cole, where he can kind of settle in to a rhythm that might be a little more comfortable, keep the tires under him a little bit more until whenever he does want to come down pit road. But yeah, I don't think he'll be saving too much. I mean, he's going to have to stop either way. So you may as well try to keep a healthy advantage on the racetrack, because when this cycles out, you know, it was a lot closer when this cycle began, and I think that's something that will be in the back of Brody Hayes' mind. You see there, Dennis Faircloth makes the move around Hronis. He's up to 3rd. 18th to 3rd. Granted, we are in the middle of the pit cycle a little bit here, but That 80 machine really coming to life here in the back half of this race. We're really starting to see it make some good headway and pass some pretty fast cars. Like Coronas has been in the top 10 for the majority of the day here today, and just was able to wheel past him there in 12 like it was nothing. And now Jace Cully and Brody Hayes on pit road. So both of them going to make their stop. Faircloth going to inherit the lead. And this will be really interesting to see where they'll cycle out. Brody Hayes, he was, you know, second at the time when this pit cycle began, but then Levi Cox with the slow stop. Yeah. How is this going to sort out here? That whole pack right now coming through 13 and 14.
Yeah, Keith Maiato has been able to jump to the front of this group, and he's actually got about a second and a half to Braxton DeWeese. Had a really good pit cycle, only 38.1 seconds on pit road as Brody Hayes gets it rolling. He is going to exit off of pit road, but it is going to be very close as Maiato at full song down into turn number 1. And Hayes nearly goes off the racetrack. Going to have to get those tires heated back up and get adjusted to the full fuel load, as Maiato is going to be his next closest competitor, just about a second behind.
Yeah, so where these guys have cycled out, they currently run 6th and 7th, but everybody ahead of them will need to still stop for fuel before the end of this race. So right now, Dennis Faircloth getting some, you know, some extra time up front, you know, extra points for leading some laps here, but he will have to make a stop before this one's said and done. He's got about a... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, he just ran one of the 5 fastest laps of the race, so he's putting down some good laps. Now that he's got the clean air, he's got a clear racetrack all around him, no pressure really. So maybe trying to make up some time as Jeremiah Hobbs behind him goes really sideways and through the grass there in the second position. He's got to make his pit stop. Mahalski, Hutton, Liddell will be your top 5 that need to bring it down in. The 080 machine there, not to be confused with the 80 of Faircloth, as yeah, the gap between the two VSPEED machines of Hayes and Maiato remains 1 second, just about 1 lap after they both pitted. And Braxton DeWeese another 2 seconds back, so it could be very well between the 36 and the 37 for this race win. They're closing up on Liddell here in the 5th position, who goes off track just a moment ago, and he may be bringing it down pit road this time.
Might not be a bad idea as well, seeing the cars behind him just flying up to their back bumper, and yet the 80 gonna peel out of the way and down pit road for Liddell, which will bring another one of those few cars who are out front down pit road. Now I believe only 4 of them will still need the pit: Faircloth, Hobbs, Mahalski, and Hutton, who are all 20 to 30 seconds ahead of this battle, but you know, with cars spending close to 40 seconds on pit road at any given point during these green flag stops, they will cycle out behind this group. It's just a matter of how much. As you see, Bailey Turner trying to hold off Ronis right now. Levi Cox in that battle as well. The 54 had the track position before the pit cycle began and just has lost a ton of it here as this cycle has progressed.
Yeah, I mean, if you look between him and where Brody Hayes is running, it's about 5 seconds, and yeah, had the advantage over all of these guys, but obviously a longer pit stop. It says 11.3 seconds on pit lane, so either just took a little bit too much fuel or sat there just a little too long, and that's the difference between where he runs and where Brody Hayes currently runs. Jace Coley as well, who pitted with Brody Hayes, he finds himself in 11th. He lost even more time, and then Chris Samard behind him. But it looks like Jace Coley took tires. That was part of his issue on this last round. He lost all that time because he took a fresh set of tires, but it's not helping him at the moment. Still well behind the Brody Hayes machine, as Dennis Faircloth remains on the racetrack, putting down a really strong lap times. Let's see what he's able to do here. If he continues on the track or does bring it in. No, he's going to stay out there. It might be going to, you know, try and lead the most laps potentially. That is a bonus point, so we'll see if he can do that. But it's been Brody Hayes, and I think he may have already clinched that. Actually, he's like 12 out of our 20 completed laps.
He's had a really strong run to this point, but I think in Faircloth's case, I think he knows he's putting up fast lap times at the moment, knowing he's got that clean air. I think he just may be trying to maximize that before he has to come down pit road, as Hobbs and Mahalski have both made their stops now, leaving just Faircloth and Hutton as the two cars yet to pit up at the front. Brody Hayes, Keith Mayato going to cycle past the 31 and the 03. And they will inherit third and fourth. Mayato, though, closing in a little bit. What was once a 1 second gap has shrunk to about a half second. And this is the provisional battle for the race lead when everyone has cycled through. So Brody Hayes, even though he's led the majority of the laps here tonight, I would not say this one's over yet, as he's got his teammate breathing down his neck now.
And it was similar at the end of the first run. The 37 really have lost a bit of speed, and the 36, the 24 were all closing in from behind before, inevitably they made some mistakes. As behind it, it's Bailey Turner, Braxton DeWeese fighting for position. Look at the 24, just sends it down into the corner. Those brakes glowing hard, as well as the 00. He's going to give up the position. So Braxton DeWeese still hanging on to a good, strong running position in 6th. Levi Cox behind has not been able to keep up with those two. But Angelo Ronas has closed back in and might be able to put some pressure on here. Angelo, a very strong road course racer, and showing those skills here tonight, running in the top 10. And yeah, Coley, Samard rounding out your top 10 for the moment. But when do the 80 and 88 bring it down? I wonder if Eric Hutton is trying to stretch it all the way. He's running a pace right now that indicates he could be doing that, saving, about a little bit per lap, but he's about 2 seconds off the pace of Dennis Faircloth, which it was not really how he was running before. He was much closer in terms of lap time, so interesting to see if he does elect to go with a strategy like that and stays on the racetrack another lap.
He might be trying to say, I do not think he'd be able to stretch it all the way to the end. I just don't think the fuel window allows for him to make that full gap that he might be trying to do here. But, whether it is intentional or not, he is definitely losing time to Faircloth ahead of him. He still has about 15 seconds plus over Brody Hayes, but he's about that far back as well right now from Dennis Faircloth. Dennis Faircloth has only lost about a second and a half or so to Hayes and Mayato since he's taken the race lead here. And he's done a really good job keeping that pace up. I'm really interested to see when he does decide to come down pit road, because every lap he stays out is a little bit less time he'll need to spend on pit road fueling to the finish, which should trim down the time he'll need to spend on pit road a little bit. You see the lap times there. Last time by, he was only 0.2 slower than the 37 or the 36, so he is very much in the mix right now.
Yeah, Bailey Turner running his fastest lap of the race last time around, so finding some pace here in the last third of the race here at Road America, and we'll see if he's able to charge back up and challenge the VSPEED machines of Brody Hayes and Keith Mayato, who have pulled away from him by about 3 seconds. Yeah, it's still Dennis Faircloth showing the way. He has now led 4 laps after starting back in 17th, and yet to make that final stop, but putting on pretty good performance while he's out in front at least. Take a look at second place Eric Hutton, who started in that 7th spot. He is struggling with the handling, so yeah, I think you're right. Maybe it's not intentional that he's running a 2:14 right now. It's really just the way that the car is handling underneath him. Has not been able to keep pace with the 80 machine out in front. Brody Hayes here in that 3rd spot. Look at the battle that's going to probably emerge before this is all said and done. It's just 2 car lengths between these teammates.
Yeah, every lap it's shrinking a little bit, but don't look now. I mean, if Bailey Turner's going to run 0.3 a second faster lap over lap here, he's going to catch these guys before the end of this race as well. That 24 with a little bit of clean air, if he keeps it on the racetrack, is going to be in really strong shape, as it looks like the 00 may have had his first real issue of the day. DeWeese off in turn 12, costs him a bit of time. And now he's going to settle in here just ahead of Levi Cox, a car. Oh, yeah, there is the replay. Just got a little wide, sent it through the gravel trap, and lost a couple of positions.
Yeah, falls all the way back to 8th now, but still a good, strong debut performance for him, running in the top 5 for most of the race. So not, can hang his hat on that, had the performance, and it's still not over. It could gain a couple more positions before it's all said and done, and gotta hold off Jace Coley, who is charging hard behind, really pushing that car as far as he can. And Chris Samard, also no slouch here on the road courses, in behind. So this is a real gauntlet for the 00. He's up against some of the best that you'll see in the stock cars on road courses, and he's really held his own in his debut race as Faircloth continues to stay on the racetrack. It's going to be 7 laps to go next time around. He'll be able to go about 2 or 3 more laps, I believe, before he's going to have to stop. And yeah, the gap continues to shrink. That time not quite as competitive as the 37 and the 36, who are still just 2 car lengths apart. And there's Bailey Turner lurking. He is closing. He was another half second that time faster. He ran his fastest lap again. He continues to improve as the fuel burns off.
Yeah, I mean, he currently sits about 2.5 seconds behind these guys. It's a healthy gap, but if he's going to be tracking a half a second faster a lap, I mean, he will get there. See, he's really pushing the boundaries here, gets a little off track there, going through 11, just trying to maximize everything he can out of this race car right now, the track down Hayes and Mayato. And there's the gap. You can see him from where Bailey Turner's sitting. You can reach out, almost grab him. And I think that makes it all the more tantalizing to really try to put the hammer down, try to reel him in. And he's doing a good job of doing that. It's just a matter of, does he have enough time left in this race to actually reel these guys in? As Mayato and Hayes, I mean, they're no slouches at the moment. They're running some of the fastest lap times on the racetrack. And if you're Brody Hayes, that's a good thing, because Mayato has just parked himself in the rearview mirror here over the past couple laps.
Yeah, they were the fastest cars on the track. Bailey Turner a couple of tenths slower that time, so that is not the pace that he's going to need to get there. Angelo Ronas put down a really nice lap. Braxton DeWeese as well. Those guys both in the 2:11.3 second range, as well as Mayato and Hayes. Dennis Faircloth once again a 2:11.89, so he's still just a few tenths off per lap, running, his race on his own right now, his own strategy. It's just him and Eric Hutton on that strategy, and they'll just have to take a quick splash of fuel. It may only be a few seconds, and that could be the difference. If he runs long enough, it's a shorter pit stop potentially, and he can come out and be right alongside these guys, even though he's lost a little bit of time here.
Yeah, I am intrigued to see how close it will be whenever he does have to come down pit road. I'd imagine he will fall behind them. I do wonder, though, by how much. Like, I genuinely think he could merge in here between Bailey Turner and Levi Cox. I think that's how opportune Dennis Faircloth has been in setting himself up here for the last couple laps of this race. You see, this is the battle third and fourth, soon to be first and second when Faircloth and Hutton peel it down pit road. The last holdouts on this pit cycle.
Yeah, as
Bailey Hayes has. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say Bailey Turner just stepped it off the racetrack once again. He has really pushed it through the kink there on the straightaway, and it seems each time he gets a little further off track, and eventually that does really start to affect your lap time. You can get off just a little bit without it. It could actually improve your lap time if you carry your momentum all the way through it, but if you go too far wide, it's definitely going to cost you. I think it did that time. As we take a look further back, Levi Cox, Angelo Ronas, these guys pretty much nose to tail. This is 6th and 7th. They may cycle out to be inside the top 5 when this is all said and done. And so good battle going on here for as many points as they can get, and Hutton has brought it in. So he's giving up that runner-up position, and he's already getting passed up now by Levi Cox and Angelo Ronas. The 88 likely going to cycle outside the top 10. At the front of the field, here second and third, it is Brody Hayes and Keith Mayato continuing to just mirror one another. The gap remains 2 car lengths, and they may just be happy to kind of not push the issue just yet, knowing they've got a pretty good margin back to Bailey Turner, and that continues to increase. These guys just trying to save whatever they've got for the last few laps of this race.
I do wonder what Mayato might be cooking up right now to try to take the potential win here. You know, he's had the pace to mirror Brody Hayes basically every corner of this racetrack the past 3 or 4 laps. Now it's just a question mark of what's he going to do differently to actually make that move when it comes time. I'd imagine he's thinking it's probably a little bit too early. He doesn't want to burn up his stuff just yet, especially when they're still putting down good lap times to separate from Bailey Turner behind him. But, you know, I have no doubt that Keith Mayato will not be content to be running in the runner-up spot when this is said and done. If he has the ability to make a move, it's just going to be a matter of when and that'll be.
Yeah, still 2 car lengths the distance between these guys. This is an area he's been a little bit better, or at least a little bit more conservative and able to stay on the racetrack over Brody Hayes. That they continue to be 2 or 3 tenths apart. Dennis Faircloth had a solid lap, but Keith Mayato just ran the fastest lap of the race last time by, so he's really found his pace here in the final moments of this one, and Brody Hayes ran his fastest. So yeah, this is going to be a showdown here for the ages potentially between these teammates. I'm very excited to see how clean they.
Faircloth's on pit road.
Yeah, here he is. Quick stop potentially. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds. 6.6 seconds in the box. A little bit less time than Brody Hayes and Keith Mayato, who are just going to bypass him now. Here comes Bailey Turner. But how about Dennis Faircloth taking full advantage of his strategy, getting off the pit lane? He is going to cycle into the 4th spot. This is an incredible recovery after his early issues.
Yeah, no, you know, didn't qualify great, had that early spin, and has rebounded in a big way. Is putting together what should, at the end of it, be a top 5 day for him. It's been a fantastic drive for the driver of the 80, and it's been, you know, a bit of a tough season for Faircloth to this point, so this is a much needed result if he's able to hold on to this 4th place finish.
Yeah, I would consider this a win after starting at the back, having a spin, and having to get off strategy, taking full advantage as Angelo Ronis gets a little rear lockup over the curbs there, trying to put pressure on Levi Cox to get into the top 5. These two battling hard for most of this run. That's allowing Braxton DeWeese to start to close in. He's only 2 seconds back, running about 3/4 of a second per lap faster. So he could be in the mix to get up inside the top 5, and what would be a really strong recovery from him as well. As Mayato losing a little bit of ground. You can see the gravel all over the racetrack. Pretty much anywhere there's gravel on the outside of the track, there's a little gravel on the racetrack. Just these guys.
You say the same thing with dirt in that corner, is particularly from Brody Hayes alone, as they've worked their way through that kink there, kind of between 11 and 12. I mean, the amount of times cars have just forced the issue as much as they can there, kick up a little bit of dirt. It's helped Brody Hayes hold on to the lead here, but, you know, gravel, dirt, everywhere over this racetrack right now. The landscaping service is not going to be too thrilled with the BTDY folks when this one's said and done. There's a lot of sweeping that'll have to happen at the end of this race.
It's definitely making things interesting for these guys, though, as they have to work through it and adapt to it. And here we go down the front stretch. It'll be 4 laps to go. It is Brody Hayes out in front. That's the distance back to Keith Mayato, just a half second. He'll get a little benefit of the slipstream down the front straightaway, down into turn number 1. Good on the brakes there for the 36. Able to close the gap a car length or so. And it's about maximizing every corner at this point. You've only got so many opportunities to make a pass. And Mayato's tried to take the lead at one point in this race as Bailey Turner goes wide off into the gravel. Here comes Dennis Faircloth. He'll try and get through as a 24 trying to get the car back underneath him. Almost looked like he was about to go to block the 80, who's obviously not made a mistake that time through. And Dennis Faircloth onto the podium for the moment. What is the 24 going to be able to do now with some dirty tires? See if he can get that pass back.
Yeah, the 24, I'd argue, at times was one of the fastest cars on the racetrack today, but just has had a little bit too much inconsistency, you know, going off track here and there, that has really kind of jeopardized his opportunity to win here today. Meanwhile, look at this, back for 5th. Levi Cox trying to hold off Ronis and DeWeese, and not going to be able to do it here. Here goes the 029 outside. Levi Cox going to slide back into 6th. And these are critical points here.
Yeah, these guys
Levi Cox trying to hold on to that points lead. And right now, fighting for every position. Just got one back there as Ronas put it in the dirt.
Yeah, they had the elbows out there for a couple of corners. We saw door banging, and they were fighting to try and get control of that position. Ronas really struggling to get the car back underneath him. Falls to 7th now after his mistake. But Braxton DeWeese trying to get into the top 5 right in the tire tracks of the points leader, Levi Cox. And this will be interesting to see if he can do it. In the battle further up, Faircloth and Turner also pretty well nose to tail, and then your race lead just a couple of car lengths. We've got multiple battles here inside the top 10 in the final few laps of this race at Road America. It's been a good one, Alex, and pleasure to call this one with you so far. Hopefully we get a nice ending fitting to the action we've seen to this point.
Yeah, certainly hoping so. It's been a lot of fun, and you know, for the folks at home, this is, I believe, the first time Adam and I have had the privilege of calling a race together, so this is something that I'm going to truly appreciate. If you're liking what you're watching so far, make sure you like this one, subscribe to VSPEED if you haven't already. Watching the FloridaSkinDoctor.com BTDY Racing Series live from Road America with only 3 laps to go and only 3/10 separating race leader Brody Hayes with Keith Maiato just in tow behind him. That 36, especially in the front half of this race course, Adam, is looming larger and larger in the rear mirror every lap around. He's got turns about 1 through 4 really figured out.
Yeah, nice job that time, although a little wide on the exit, catches a piece of the dirt. Had a good run through the center of the corner, but yeah, he is just a little bit better in a few spots, and then Brody maybe a little bit stronger and carrying some speed in other places as Bailey Turner's gotten around Dennis Faircloth. So that was a change for position for 3rd. We just saw that happen. I believe Dennis maybe got a little off the racetrack. That allowed the 24 on through, but they're still only a few car lengths apart. And then you jump back a little bit further to Levi Cox. He's still got pressure from Braxton DeWeese, and Angelo Rona seems to have recovered from his mistake, and he's putting pressure on the 00. So just everybody fighting for position here in the final moments of this one. Also, Noah Mahalski.
But any other way.
Noah Mahalski not too far behind Chris Samard. These guys in the top 10. Jace Coley still running in 8th. Good performance from him, even though he was all the way up to runner-up position at one point. And we're down to just 14 cars on the lead lap. Cody Adkins, Dallas Sullivan, multiple laps down. And a few others off track. Max Koss, Ryan Phillips, James Loveland, Benson Weaver, and Zach Smith. So Loveland on the cut line, not having the performance here tonight. Had an issue at some point there during the pit cycle under yellow that sent him way behind the field. Not too sure what happened. Sure, we'll talk to him and find out here. But the 37 and 36, 2 laps to go here at Road America. Who is going to be able to come out on top? Down into turn 1 for the second to last time. And again, 36 of Maiato just a little bit stronger through there, able to close up a car length. He is peeking out driver's right, trying to force the 37 into a mistake. And a little bit smoother through there. He's got the run off the exit. Should be right to the back bumper as they work down the straightaway. It'll be a hard left-hand turn.
He's got the run here if he's going to take it. Is he going to make the move? Going to take a peek to the inside, drives it in deep. Here it is, the battle for the race lead. Oh, the teammates make contact. Heavy door slam in the 5. Hayes able to hold on to the lead for now. Maiato jumps right back, less than a car length away through 6. Gloves are off. Doesn't matter that these guys are teammates. They are duking it out for the race win here today at Road America. Man, that was an aggressive dive from the 36. We've seen he's not been afraid to do that so far today. We also saw that really aggressive move in the turn 1 that he overshot a few laps ago. Boy, he is really going for it right now.
Yeah, and I think it did make a difference that they're teammates because he didn't really kind of keep his momentum up. I think he might have hit him and then was just trying to, prevent them both from crashing. So really backed out of it just a little bit, gave Brody the spot back, but he is still right there in the tire tracks. Could have been his best opportunity. We'll see if he can get back to the bumper and have a shot at it here. Closes in once again, just about a car length or 2 down into the braking zone. Brody Hayes, big slide on turn entry and sliding on turn exit as well. Maiato a little bit smoother, but not able to close in very much. Just a couple differences there in driving style, and the 37 is getting everything out of it he can. Maiato trying to just keep it underneath him and be a little bit smoother and more consistent This time out of turn 14, back towards the start-finish line for the final time. They'll get the white flag, and it is 2 car lengths between these two VSPEED machines. A white flag is out into turn number 1. My auto's been a little bit better through here. Peeks out just a little bit to get some clean air to the nose. Not able to close the gap. Gets a big slide on turn exit. That could be just enough margin maybe for the 37 of Brody Hayes to hang on to it. 2 car lengths back through turn number 3. My auto's got to be perfect and put the pressure on here to force a mistake, I think.
Yeah, there we go through the tunnel / turn 4. Brody Hayes has led the most laps here today, but he is not in a comfortable spot. This is where my auto tried making the move last corner, or last lap. Not able to make something happen this time, though. He's fallen back about a half second. Is he going to have an opportunity here to close in and make one more run at it? He's going to have to get some good exits, and he might have one more opportunity going into turn 12. I think may be one of his best last shots. We'll see if he can close in here as they make their way through this part of the racetrack coming up toward the carousel. This is going to be such a critical exit for both of these guys. Whoever gets the better run through 9 and 10 here will probably end up bringing this thing home.
Yeah, Brody Hayes look for that 3rd victory as he gets a big slide off the exit, but my auto goes just a touch wide. Maybe a little better run for the 37, but he's been wide through this part of the track in the past, but perfectly gets through there. My auto just a little bit better, but probably not going to be quite enough. Closes it back down to about 2.5 car lengths into the braking zone. Again, 37 pushing the issue hard under braking there, but has a good margin. It's still about 3 or 4 tenths. And he's got 2 more corners to navigate to get to victory lane for the 3rd time this season. My auto 2 car lengths back, not going to be close enough. Brody Hayes through 14, back on the throttle, through the dirt, and he'll make his way up the hill and get to the start-finish line first. Brody Hayes is going to win his 3rd race at Road America and might take over the points lead. We're taking a look at the battle further back. Levi Cox able to hold off Braxton DeWeese as Dennis Faircloth had issues late in this one, and rather Levi Cox is going to give it up.
I wonder if the 54 cut the fuel a little too fine or what. What a great run for DeWeese there at the last second, stealing 4th place away. And also, I just want to highlight some tragedy on the track there for the 80 of Dennis Faircloth, an issue a couple laps ago. He's now off the lead lap. Hillsby scored 13th here tonight after what was a stellar run for the 80 machine.
Definitely an impressive performance. We know he's got speed at these road courses, and he's had speed in pretty much every race this season. Just has to find a way to get the finishes that speed deserves. But the 37 of Brody Hayes able to hold off his teammate. Great battle between these two, and he'll take home the win here at Road America. We're going to cut to a quick commercial break and interview the top 3 finishers and run through tonight's full race rundown.
At Cynthia Rogers, MD Dermatology, we specialize in providing comprehensive expert care for the full spectrum of skin conditions, from complex skin diseases and skin cancer to aging concerns and aesthetic needs. With decades of combined experience in medical, surgical, and aesthetic dermatology, our team brings both deep clinical knowledge and a patient-first approach to every visit. Our practice focuses on developing personalized treatment plans tailored to each individual's skin, health, and life stage. We're located in Port St. Lucie, Florida, in the PSL Professional Center. Learn more or schedule a visit at floridaskindoctor.com.
We've been around since 1946, originated as a scrapyard and evolved into a full-on steel service center, buying and selling new steel products of light fabrication, such as cutting, shearing, bending, threading. We also run a wholesale pipe, valve, and fitting plumbing division, as well as a retail showroom outlet. And then we also are a full-on structural steel fabricator, which is the skeletal steel that you see in commercial and residential structures. We sell to a wide variety of contractors, plumbers, maintenance type personnel, underground utility companies. We sell anything from single nuts and bolts to like a typical hardware store type of feel, one fitting, to full semi-loads of pipes. We're a little deeper in our inventory, and we actually have maybe a little more specialized type of fittings and such. Stock quite a diverse inventory, so we try to keep everything here to keep you guys going.
Backed by 70 years of experience, Duncan Water Systems specializes in commercial and residential water system testing, design, installation, and maintenance. Our mission at Duncan Water Systems is to provide high-quality water solutions to every customer. We pride ourselves on being responsive, honest, and customer-oriented. Our priority is safer water for you and your family. Contact us via call, text, email, or visit us at duncanwatersystems.com.
We're back at Road America at the conclusion of tonight's event, with Brody Hayes taking the win in race number 9 of the Below the Double Yellow Racing Series, presented by FloridaSkinDoctor.com. And wow, what an exciting set of battles we saw there in the closing moments of this one. But Brody Hayes able to weather the storm and win one here over his teammate, now his third victory of this season. He'll be your winner in that 37 machine. Keith Mayato able to close in and battle him there in the final few laps, finishes in that second spot. Bailey Turner, strong run tonight, led a couple of laps, finishes in third. Braxton DeWeese able to sneak past Levi Cox and come home with fourth place finish here tonight. Levi, the points leader, coming in. He'll finish in the fifth spot, right where he started the race. Angelo Ronas going to finish in the sixth position. Chris Samard comes home in seventh. Noah Mahalski finishing in the eighth spot. Eric Hutton in ninth. And Jake Monkey able to round out the top 10 here. Good run for him in the number 13 machine.
Looking back to 11th here, Jeremiah Hobbs and Ryan Lindell will be the last two cars on the lead lap here, finishing just ahead of Dennis Faircloth. Jace Cully will be 14th here tonight. Cody Atkins 15th. Dallas Sullivan finishing 16th ahead of Max Cost. Ryan Phillips, who made that the fuel strategy at the stage, did not pan out for him. He'll finish 18th, just ahead of James Loveland. And Weaver rounds out your top 20.
Zach Smith going to round out the field in the 20 at first position. Early exit for him after getting collected there in turn number 1 after Dennis Faircloth had gone around. So that is your field here tonight from Road America. 21 drivers. Had 12 on the lead lap at the end of it, and mixed emotions probably for some of these drivers who ended up off the lead lap, but probably some pretty positive emotions for our top 3 finishers, as we'll go check out Bailey Turner. We'll see if we can get him into the booth here. He is around. We pulled him in. And Alex, I believe you're with him.
Yeah. Hey there, Bailey. This is Alex Nab in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
I tell you what, 5 straight podium finishes now in your last 5 races here in BTDY. Granted, this one, of course, the third place finish after a string of first and seconds, but still a fantastic day for you. We're in the mix for the vast majority of it. Talk to us a little bit about how it was racing out here on an incredibly hot road course tonight.
Yeah, no, I had a blast. This is by far my favorite road course that we get to do on the sim, and I honestly wish more leagues would run it. Just so many passing opportunities, heavy braking zones, slow off-camber corners. Like, it's a racer's racetrack, and it was fun that first stage, really battling it out with Brody. It seemed like neither of us wanted to have the lead. It seemed like as soon as we got clean air, we'd all make a mistake and just run off track or do something stupid. But that was fun. Second stage, just I made a error on the restart, kind of gave up too much track position, and then when I got it back and had Brody behind me, just made a mistake driving defensive into two, and I'm so used to driving the next gen as of late that you really don't wheel hop too much, and you can be really aggressive with the shifting and things like that. But in this car, you get too aggressive, you start that wheel hop, and the rears come around. So took myself out there, and then once I heated up the rears there, it was just hard to really gain that tempo and speed back consistently after that, with the rears kind of sliding around. And every time I started to match lap times with Brody and Keith, I'd slip up here or there, and eventually, at a certain point, I kind of just knew I wasn't going to catch them unless they made a mistake, and I started kind of watching their gap and watching their battle, and I missed my braking points, and made for a heck of a battle with Dennis there for a couple laps. So, I don't have a lot to say other than just frustrated myself for those mistakes, but overall, great night, great race, and congrats to Brody.
And Bailey, you haven't been involved in every race so far this season, but the ones that you have been able to make, you have been incredibly fast in, and you will be definitely building on that cushion to be eligible for the chase in a few weeks' time here with the points that you're racking up. How do you feel? Does that build your confidence up here, knowing that even though you haven't run the full season, you're still coming in here every week and putting down the speed that you've had week in, week out?
Yeah, first I guess I was got to see if I'm playoff eligible, because I wasn't planning on running a full season, but I've just had a free few Tuesday nights here to come in and have fun with these guys, and like I've said before, just want to support these guys. These guys have put on a league and kept this thing alive even in the toughest of times, and recruited and started to build things back up a little bit. So that's my main thing, is just coming out here and having fun. And my mindset is I'm not here racing necessarily for points. I'm just going to try to go all out for wins. If a playoff berth happens and I'm able to make it and the admins are cool with that, then maybe. But honestly, just coming out here and having fun. And honestly, it's been fun battling with all the VSPEED guys and Levi, and we've just had some crazy battles up front for the lead. And these cars are so packed up and low on horsepower that we're just all over each other all the time. So it makes for some great racing.
It certainly has, and you've definitely been the mix of a lot of that. Bailey, anyone you want to shout out here tonight on the podium finish?
Yeah, of course, Eric and Angela over there in Sideboys. We were really starting to all string together a halfway decent run there, and got derailed in one way or the other. But it was fun to kind of come in here, and we didn't really practice or anything beforehand like a lot of these guys. So kind of just practicing and finding pace, right before the race started, and getting better. And mad at myself maybe if I would have put in maybe one or two more hours of practice, I could have been in there with Brody. But just again, congrats to him, and I'm sure that was a heck of a battle with him and Keith to the end.
Awesome. Well, Bailey, thank you so much for dropping by the booth. Congrats on the podium finish, and hopefully we will get to see you next week at Darlington.
Sure.
That was a third place finisher, Bailey Turner, in the 24 machine. And I think we'll be sending it back over to Adam, who's catching up with our runner-up here tonight, Keith Mayato.
And I am standing here with Keith Mayato. Keith, you got a copy?
10-4.
All right. Well, second place finish here. Get to battle it out with your teammate. There in the closing moments, you guys really were the class of the field at the end of the race. Tried a couple of times to get past him. You had made a couple of attempts at the lead in tonight's race. Didn't quite work out. But what did you need there, to make it happen? And what were you lacking there, I guess, in the final few laps?
Well, when I had that one opportunity going into 3, I thought I ran into Brody, and after the last 2 races, I've kind of ruined his race a little bit. And then I looked at the replay, he hit me, so I think that was the move right there. If I had realized that, I just would have gone on the throttle past him. But from my point of view, it looked like because I was had the very tight corner entry, I thought I pushed up and ran into him, but it was the opposite way. I was tight against the curb, and we went tire on tire on the mid corner there. So I think if I realized that, I wouldn't have handed the lead back to him, and then who knows what happened there. But it was an intense race. Missed a lot of breaking points. Sent it a few times. So I think if I had a cleaner race, I think it would have been probably a P1 for tonight.
Yeah, you guys were so close there at the end, and I had said to Alex when you guys did make contact, I'm like, I think they, were still acting as teammates a little bit there, because I think if they weren't teammates, Keith probably would have just drifted through it. So I was partially right with that. You did back off a little bit, thinking that you had caused it, but really impressive drive for you too, right? You weren't right there behind Brody. After the pit cycle, I think it was about 1.5 seconds, maybe even 2 seconds. You closed all the way up and were putting the pressure on there for about 10 laps or so. And you've had a really strong season. Came in just 1 point off of the points lead. It might be enough tonight to take it back over. We go to Darlington next week. How do you feel about going out there?
It's gonna be fun. I do love Darlington. Don't have that much luck there, but should be interesting. We'll see what the setup's like. Hopefully it's on the tight side. It might be okay, but hopefully it's not too crazy loose. But I'm looking forward to it. It's just one of those races where you don't know. You might get caught up in someone else's mess. So hopefully I don't create the problem and have a nice, fun but solid finish for next week.
Yeah, if it's anything like some of those other kind of intermediate track races we've seen, I think it's going to be a very exciting one. At one of the most difficult ovals on the schedule. So continue your good string of performances here. You get a second place. I believe this is 2 weeks in a row now. You've had a second place finish. So anybody you want to give a shout out to for runner-up tonight?
Yeah, shout out to everyone tonight for putting on it wasn't the cleanest of races, but it was a lot of fun, even though everyone was taking shots at each other. And yeah, for KHIO for sponsoring the race tonight, and for yourself, Adam, and Alex doing an awesome job on the broadcast tonight.
Awesome, Keith. Well, thanks for taking the time here. Congrats on runner-up, and we'll see you next week at Darlington.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
You too. Second place finisher Keith Mayato. We're gonna head to victory lane now with Brody Hayes. We'll see if we can get him up here with us. Hey Brody, this is Adam and Alex in the VSPEED booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you weathered the storm here tonight. You survived a couple of kind of mid-race mistakes, able to recover and hold off your teammate there in a tight battle in the closing laps. Describe the victory tonight and really the second half of this race where you were under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun race. It was really slick. You could attack some corners and other corners you couldn't, so you kind of had to navigate that. The first part of the race, it was a lot of mistakes. Me and Bailey, neither one of us acted like we wanted to lead. And then I kind of made a mistake trying to pass Levi. And then after that, after the pit cycle, it was just kind of try to keep Keith at bay. And we were so even. He was better at me in the deep braking zones, but and the slower part of the track where you had to string some corners together, I was just a little bit better than him, so he kind of evened out. But it was fun. It's fun trying to run 10 laps at a course like that where you got to be almost perfect, and he's got to be almost perfect, and to do that. And I know we banged doors a little bit, and that was my fault. I came down on him, but to be able to race like that is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you guys, keep it clean through all of that, and yeah, just all different kinds of strategies. Guys taking different, loads of fuel there at the end of it, pitting at different times. You survive all of that and get your third win of the season. You came in just 6 points behind the points leader after being at the top of the point standings for a lot of this season. It may be enough to get you back. We'll have to see how things shake out when they submit the points here, but we go to Darlington next week. I know you're a big fan of short tracks and tough tracks like that. How do you feel about going out there?
Darlington's fun. It's hit and miss though. If it's anything like it's been all year, it's gonna be a show. Sliding that thing around there and up by the fence and knocking the wall down, and I mean it's gonna be fun. So I don't know. I've ran good there in the past, and I know Keith's going to be good there, and Bailey's going to be good, and I'm sure Levi's going to be good. So, and it's hard to pass there. So, the clean air is really, really going to be, it's going to be big. So getting out front and staying out front is going to be huge. But we've had decent pace all year, so I don't see why we can't do that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if you continue this kind of string of races, both you, Keith, and Bailey and Levi. You guys have basically been on the podium, I think, every race this season. So yeah, definitely it'll be interesting to see if you can back up what would be your third win tonight with a fourth win next week at the lady in black. But you get the victory here, leads 17 laps. I believe also, maybe not the fastest lap, but very close. You and Keith were right on top of each other there. Anybody you want to give a shout out to for tonight's win?
Yeah, you guys in the booth as always. I mean, they're always fun to go back and watch and you know, see what you guys see during the race. You know, the admins, everybody at BTDY for putting this league on every Tuesday. All the sponsors, Flora Skincare. Yeah, it was a fun one. So next week should be more of the same.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Thanks for taking some time here, Brody. Go celebrate, and we'll catch you at the Lady in Black next week.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That is your race winner, Brody Hayes. Third victory on the season. He gets it in dramatic fashion once again, holding off his teammate Keith Mayato, who had closed in from about a second and a half back. And Alex, we were treated once again a great road course race here at Road America, and I'm just happy to always call these races here at BTDY, and glad to call one with you for the first time. And yeah, just any closing thoughts here, I guess, before we head on out this evening.
Well, I want to echo the sentiment. It's been a pleasure to finally work with you. You know, I've only been doing stuff with VSPEED for the past year and a half, and somehow we've never crossed paths until today. So this was a welcome opportunity. But as far as the actual road course racing was concerned, man, I mean, this was... They've had 2 road courses this season. Both of them have been incredibly entertaining battles right down to the finish. Both times the race was decided by less than a second and really was decided in the last lap or two. Bailey Turner getting into Brody Hayes at Lime Rock with 3 laps to go. And then here, Mayato and Hayes getting together with 2 laps to go. I mean, been kind of spoiled on the road courses, and, you know, it's kind of a shame that they're going away for a little bit. But also, you know, we're going back next week to where these things really thrive in a race that should be even more incredible, if you ask me.
Yeah, I love Darlington. It's always fun to call races there, and these ARCA machines have put on a real show for us this season. It's been probably the closest and most competitive we've seen in a while here, BTDY, and just really a lot of fun to watch these guys duke it out here every week. So should be a good race. Whether or not I'll be in the car or in the booth remains to be seen, but looking forward to it either way. So thanks for calling it with me up here, Alex. Thanks to all the sponsors, all the admins, and everybody here at BTDY that makes this possible. All you fans that tuned in, make sure to like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed the broadcast, and we will catch you all next time.